Hello. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. We are here for one more English meeting. Thank you for all of you to help us. Thank you for being here. We are going to do a quick prayer. And let's just elevate our thoughts and our hearts and be grateful for life itself, for this wonderful opportunity that we do have to use our free wills, to make our own choices, to be able to breathe, to love, to have compassion. We are so grateful for the centers and the mentors that are here tonight, that are always here working. With that, we ask permission to start the meeting tonight. So be it. So tonight we have Luide Rocha, and he's going to talk about heaven and hell.
We have sound? No, not yet. Here. Good evening. So Heaven and Hell. Heaven and Hell is one of the books from the Kardec codification, one of the 5 books. No sound? Yeah? Yeah? Can you hear me? Yeah?
But now it's off from the microphone.
Not from the microphone? Yeah?
I think so, yeah. Now
Time to change. Yeah, time to change this microphone. Okay, so it's one of the books. This book is composed of 2 parts. The first part of the book is Kardec explaining heaven and hell in all other beliefs, Catholics, all. He did a long research related to that. It's very, very interesting for you to understand how they see heaven and hell. And the second part of the book is letters, 114 letters from the other side, psychographed, and it starts with suffering spirits, medium spirits, and happy spirits. So he takes letters from the suffering, from the people that it was kind of not in between, but kind of didn't know what happened to them after the death, and the happy spirits. But Kardec on the book say the hell of Christians, like the one of the pagans, was therefore in the beginning not simply a place for torment, but like the latter include the lower regions. And the Christians' heaven, the above of the angels, and the saints was also like the pagan Olympus, up and high, somewhere beyond the region of the stars, which, as previously remarked, was supposed to be limited. So everything that we know today, especially most of who here was Catholic? Unbelievable, 100%. Look at this, 100%. Huh?
It should be very predictable.
Yes. What? No.
Yeah. Come from Brazil, that's amazing.
Oh, that's right.
Hello.
So
very predictable.
Me and Sip there, we are not. I never been Catholic. So 2 here out of 2%. So everybody here was Catholic before becoming Spiritist. So Catholicism, it was the large beliefs in the Occident world and the Western world, and everybody believes in this heaven and hell. The way that people live is thinking about, I'm going to do good things because I want to go to heaven, because bad people go to hell. And all this belief came from the old religions, what they call the pagan religions. Because the bishops that, the Bible doesn't talk about heaven and hell. Anyone here ever read the Bible? Huh? Catholics? No? Okay. So there is no heaven and hell in the Bible. Okay, there is no mention of that. So I don't know who came up with that. So, but anyway, it did came up, heaven and hell, because after the church was organized, they had to create a intermediary between the planet, the physical world, and the heaven, and also between the physical world and hell. So hell, we have Lucifer, and heaven, we have God. So, and then in between, we have the church. So without the church, we cannot go to heaven. So then this belief propagates throughout hundreds of years until this day, right? Everybody believes in heaven and hell because that's what we listen since we were kids. Don't do bad things because you're going to go to hell. Oh my God, this guy's devil. This guy's the devil. These are demons, so on and so forth. So that's how our mind and the way of belief was created. If you're going to study the Greeks, the Olympus was heaven, where the gods used to live. And then we have the lower levels where the gods of evil used to live. So that's how it is. And then in the year 1600, 593, 594, purgatory was created by the Catholic Church. Because, we need a place to people like us that don't do good or bad needs to go. So the Gospels make no mention of the purgatory, which was not admitted by church until the year 593 of our era. The idea of purgatory is certainly more rational and more in conformity with the justice of God, since it establishes a penal code of less severity and provides for the redemptions of the minor sort of wrongdoing. So purgatory was created. So in purgatory, you can, if your family does enough deeds, good deeds, some of those deeds go to you and you leave purgatory. And it's kind of, how can I say that without we misinterpret what I'm saying? It's kind of the way it is, because if you have somebody that loves you very much, that is the person that is going to go there to help you out, get out of that place. Okay? So we see on a book, which book was that? With Nossa Law, right? Nossa Law, we see the fight of the André Luiz's mother, right? Fighting to get who out of the umbral? The daughters and the husband, right? 2 daughters and the husband, plus André Luiz. But André Luiz was a little bit in a higher place, on a different vibration, a better vibration, let's say, and it was easier to pick him up, okay? Everybody thinks that André Luiz stayed 8 years in umbral, but he didn't. He stayed 2 years only. The 8 years was a mistyping of the publishing, and they never changed. So it's only 2 years. And then he was able to be rescued. But who started the rescue was his mother, okay? His mother who invested, listen, let's go over there, let's get him. And the same way she's investing right now to get her husband and the 2 daughters. That's in 1943. We don't know if they're still there yet. I hope not. So that's how it is. So you see how purgatory is. It's like our umbral, right? That we are what we call umbral. Because it's a more, how can I say? It's a more, he said here, it's a more rational thing to think. Those things that you see, he's Kardec mentioning. Okay? The entire slides is Kardec's words. So, and as you become a medium, you'll be able to understand this a little bit doing those type of works, right? Medium and spiritist mediums, because most of the mediums that we know today do not do this type of work to, go into low level, work with suffering spirits, okay? We brought here in the house several American mediums, British mediums, and none of them do this type of work because they don't believe that there is suffering after the death. After you die, you become light and so on and so forth. So it's all good. There's no responsibility for what you do here. Most of them believe this, but some of them, very few of them believe in suffering spirits. You guys not gotta, if someday when you have a chance to do some research in the American spiritualism, you see how it is. Okay, there is no right and wrong, but that's how they work. There is many ways to do the same way. So on the Spiritism view, each disincarnated spirit undergoes in the spiritual world the consequence of the various imperfections of he has failed to cure himself during his earthly life. His state in that world, whether happy or unhappy, is the direct consequence of the inheriting the degree of the advancement of his imperfections. So it's all our responsibilities. And the Spiritist view is this way. You go where you work. So you did your work, you go to a place where your vibration is. You did nothing, you live on the slums. So you are what we call the umbral, because the umbral is the slums. That's how it is. It's not me saying that. Nosso Law, in chapter 47, he explained that really, really well. That lady that complains that she lives on the slums of the around the city, right? There's the city, and then she lives in the slums around the cities. It's those people that never care about anything. I don't know if you guys watched the study that Yonada did here, but that's what it is. Our main goal as human beings, as spirits, is to hold hands one another and serve. That's what it is. That's how we're going to be able to grow, through serving. And the Spiritism brought more information than anybody, than any other belief in the world. The Spiritism brought more information about the spiritual world. We don't know for sure, okay? We have an idea that what is the spiritual world, okay? How can I say? The good part. Because most of us, when we are working in mediumship and this, we always go into this bad places because that's what they need us. That's what the work is needed. Why are we going to go to a happy place? There's nothing there to do, you know what I'm saying? So the work is done down there. So we have very few information around this good places that where they call. We have very little. So nobody knows exactly how is the spiritual world is. Nobody knows for sure. We have a glance, an idea. On this book, Heaven and Hell, for example, there is a lady, one of the letters that Kardec mentioned is this lady that used to live by herself. She was a very, how can I say, a very perfect lady as a materialistic person. She always paid her dues, her house was wonderful, everything was wonderful. But she lived her life alone. She wanted to be alone all the time. She didn't want to interact with anybody because she already thought that interacting socially with people always brings problems and issues. And she didn't want to hear. She didn't want to hear others' problems because she had her own and so on and so forth. Even the letter from the mailman, she used to leave a message. Please leave it this. She used to leave instructions for the mail guy to leave on the door because she didn't want to not even interact with people. So she wasn't, how can I say, a bad person. That was the way she chose to live, okay? So she dies, and she sees in a place where there was nothing. It was just her. It was just her. And then she started living that and this and this and this. And then she started getting tired of that place with just herself. And one day then when she got tired, she opened up a little bit, right? She, opened the door a little bit. When she opened the door a little bit, her mentor came in and said, listen, what's going on? And then she said, no, you tell me what's going on here. I say, listen, this is a desert. I'm leaving you alone in a desert. Am I dead? Yes, you're dead. You died. But I had a different thinking of living, of the life after death. And the guy explained to her, you live your entire life this way. Why are you complaining now? So she chose that. Okay, so free will, okay, is the most powerful law in the universe. Okay? Not even God interferes with free will. So we got to be very careful how we make our choices, okay? Because remember when we were teenagers and we start growing a little adult, and responsibilities started coming in, and your father comes to you and says, listen, you're not going to find a job. When are you going to live this life? When are you going to stop this life? When are you going to find a job, start paying your bills, find a house and this, or study or do something? And that's exactly the same way it happened to us. We're still teenagers as an evolution on a spiritual path. But the warning keeps coming all the time. But we don't believe it because we only believe what we can see and touch, just like a teenager. And just like a teenager, we know everything, right? We know everything. And everybody's wrong and we are right. But it's the same thing, okay? The only thing that we know for certain, okay, is that the life goes on. That is for certain that we know, the life goes on. So in a spiritual way, we see this. So everything goes according to your imperfections, whether happy or unhappy, in direct consequence of inheriting the degree of advancement of his imperfection. Perfect happiness belongs exclusively to the state of perfection, that is to say, of the Spirit's complete purification. Every imperfection is at once a source of suffering and deprivation of enjoyment. And every acquisition of knowledge of goodness brings with the increase of enjoyment and diminish the source of suffering. I don't know if you guys understood this here, but this is amazing what Kardec says. So what he's saying here is that heaven is within us, just like Jesus says. But so is hell. Why? Because as more imperfect that you are, more hell you're going to live in this physical life. You want an example? Okay. Somebody comes to Rafael and say, Rafael, you're very ugly, man. You're never going to find a girlfriend or a boyfriend. Okay? And he's going to look at this guy. He's got two choices. He can leave heaven or hell on this situation. If he feels hurt for those words, it's hell. So his imperfections is putting him in hell. Why imperfection? Because what is putting him in hell is his pride and his need to be loved. Do you understand? So imperfection just move him to hell. And then he's going to go home and say, oh my God, is that true? Why this guy is saying that? My God, that guy is very smart. Maybe he saw something. Right? Why he said that I'm never going to find anybody? See, he's in hell. But that's because he doesn't have what? Perfection yet. He didn't work on himself to believe that it does not matter what people think about him. His path in life depends solely on his choices. Now, if he looks at the guy and say, all right, thank you, have a nice day, and leave, and continue to live his life without any pride inside of him, any need to be glamorous, okay? It's heaven. Because the words of that person passed. There was no effect to him. That's heaven. You see how it is? That's the reason why when they say we see these high spirits that live in this place, the only one we have that we have a little connection to is Chico Xavier, right? Chico Xavier is one of the highest spirits on this planet. I mean, it's out there, okay? So in everybody that you talk to, anybody, the experience with him was amazing. Just to get closer to him, he was able to change that person through his magnetism. You guys were here Monday about Ionata's lecture. That's exactly what she said. What changed the words is not words, okay? Is what you are. Because when you get closer to somebody that is in this path, the magnetism around him affects you and moves something on you to change. It's not words. It's not actions. Okay? It's to be what you are trying to be. It's to live spirituality. That's what changes the world. Okay? That's the reason why Chico Xavier worked by himself in a center. He was by himself. Okay? And did the work that he did. So, hell is there when your imperfections take control of you. And that's hell. Heaven is when nothing that is outside mess with your inside. I know it's hard because we are not perfect yet, but we need to start dealing with this. We need to. Okay? I'm alone. I want a relationship. Okay, go find a relationship. But don't feel sad that you are alone. Okay? Because the trees and the streets are alone. Dogs on the streets are alone. There is hundreds of thousands of people in the world that are alone. Okay? You're not the only one. It's a process. Right? Oh my God, I want this job and this and that. So, when we started victimizing our suffering, okay, that's when hell comes in and take over us. Now we see how we live today. We see how the profession that is more, you see more people coming in today, it's psychoanalysis today, because how sick the world are, how sickly we are because of our imperfections. Because we don't believe that we are capable of everything on this universe. I mean, everything, okay? We are too attached to this here, right? We are too attached to the other. We are too attached to what people think about us. We're too attached to what we are driving, where we live, what job we have, what type of family we think. Superficial things that are gonna pass, okay? Who cares that you have a wonderful family? For sure, from 120 years from now, everybody's gonna be dead. And
we also focus more on what we don't have.
yes.
Instead of looking to what
But most of the hell, we are focusing what we don't have. Right? Just the example over there, when the guy said he's ugly, he's not going to find anything. He was worried because he didn't have anything. He was worried for not having somebody. That's what killed him. Now, if he was okay to be alone, the guy could say whatever he wants. Because the society that we follow today is what? You need to find somebody and live happy. No. Okay? That's not it. That's not only way to be happy. You can have somebody, you cannot have somebody, you can have a lot of somebodies, or you can have nothing. That's how it is. Okay? So there was a book that I was reading that 50,000 years ago, the spirits came here, the high spirits came in to do a harvest on the planet. That happens. That happens right now. There is a harvest happen on a country, on a planet. People that can continue here in this vibration, people can no longer sustain this vibration. The vibration is so low that no longer can stay here. So they need to be harvested and reincarnating planets with a lower vibration. Okay? So 50,000 years ago, what happened? They came in, my goodness. They couldn't harvest anybody to go to a different higher vibration. Nobody. The entire planet was stagnant in evolution. And that happens because the evolution is very, very slow because of that. We forgot who we are. We forgot why we're here. Okay? It's the same way you go to school, you sit down in a chair there. My God, I forgot. I forgot why I'm in school. Who is that person in the front? What am I supposed to do? And then you start talking to the guy on the side. You start playing around with your pencil. And then you go the entire year like this. That's how we live our lives. And that's hell. Okay? There is no location for hell. Right? They used to say hell was on the bottom, heaven on the top. When Yuri Gagarin went to the space for the first time and told us that the planet keeps curving around in an axle, that was a problem. That changed, everything changed, right? Sometimes hell was on the top, heaven was on the bottom, and there was a mess. So That change a lot. But if we're going to think about it, this location is within us. It's our vibration. Okay? We're going to be taken in where our vibration is going to take us. And if sometimes, like this lady, is going to be in a place there is nobody. And if she's okay with that, she's going to live that for hundreds and hundreds of years. Okay? We used to have a study here on a mediumship meeting. That was a long time ago. Great study. It was about 22 years ago. The spirits used to come in, and the first thing we asked them is, what year is it? And we started taking notes. The longest one that we got was year 300. 300. Year 300. And he said, I mean,
300.
It's almost 1,700 years already passed, and he's still on the year 300. It's amazing. The science of the spirit is amazing. It is amazing. So we took notes, we talked to him. We asked questions about things that he didn't know. And we asked questions, what's going on? And he's still living on cities that is 300 years there, 1,700 years back then. And we asked him, how's the water, how's this and that? And he described exactly how it was on the year 300. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. So, sad, very sad, but amazing. So what makes that person stay in that location for so many years, for a millennium?
Don't want it to change.
Right. See how hard it is? See, this is not a toy evolution. Our reincarnation is something that we should play with it. It's something very serious, very, very serious. But we don't know that yet. But I hope someday, right, we're going to get there. So every imperfection of the soul produces its own inevitable fruitage of suffering, and every good quality produced in virtue of the same law. It is our own natural certain fruitage of happiness. The amount of spirit suffering is thus exactly proportionate to the degrees of his imperfection. And the amount of spirit that's happening is exactly proportionate to the degree of his intellectual and moral advance. So there is no way to mix. Okay? So we have two wings to evolve, intellectual and moral. And as we evolve those two wings, we keep conquering more steps, more steps. One step, one step. Just like in school. It's simple. It's very simple. There is no punishment and there is no reward. If you study, right, you're going to have a test. You're going to pass the test. If you don't study, you're going to fail. Simple as that. Did somebody punish you? You're going to say, oh, my God, the teacher gave a test so hard that nobody couldn't do it. Nobody. Come on. Remember we used to say that to our mother? We used to go home with a D and say, Mom, the test was so hard that nobody in the class had a good thing. But she knew, right? But that's how we are. We are always transferring our imperfections to somebody else. It's not my fault. It was her fault. It was his fault. It was the kid's fault. It drives me nuts. It drives me crazy. My father, my parents, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, and so on. My dog, my cat. So that's how it is. We're still children. We're still teenagers on this evolution path. It's time to grow up. It's time to become an adult already and take responsibility for this home, okay? Because it's our home. It's our room. That's where we live. Okay, and we need to take this responsibility. So the amount of suffering that you get today, okay, if you're suffering a lot, it's because the imperfection there is, and you now worry and getting virtues. My God, stop in the front of the mirror and say, listen, who am I? And then you're going to say, I am an imperfect spirit. Okay, what I need to work on this reincarnation, what is the worst thing about me? I lie a lot. I need to work on that. Focus on this. And when you catch yourself lying, I'm not going to lie. Start like this. Next time I'm not going to lie. And then you lie, you catch again. You catch again. And then it's going to get to a time that you're going to say a lie, and you're going to say, no, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to tell the truth. Boom. You walk the step. This is huge. That's what we need to do. You need to know yourself and be sincere to yourself. What is the worst thing about me? And you know, everybody knows, okay? Don't come to me and say, oh, I didn't know about that. No, you know, everybody knows, okay? So there is no way that. So if you see people very, very happy, truly happy, happy is not Facebook happy, okay, people? It's people that you get close to it and you feel the magnetism of that person. You feel good. You want to talk to that person. You like to be around that person. So that person starts through her own work, her own magnetism started purifying the atmosphere of this planet. Okay? That's how it is. So you get close to a person, you're going to know if that person is happy. It does not matter what she dresses, what she drives, where she lives, her social condition. It's what she is. Okay? You're going to feel. And you're going to see that person is working a lot in her own evolution. She knows herself. Suffering being indissolubly connected with imperfection and enjoyment with excellences. The soul finds its own cherishment in itself, whatever it may be, and needs no circumscribed place as the scene of the suffering. Hell is consequent or whatever there are souls that suffer, as heaven is whatever there the souls are happy. So there is no place for this. The place is now here. Okay? Enjoy this life. Use this reincarnation to build this path to happiness, to build this path for why you're here. Okay? You know the anguish that everybody has in here sometimes. Sometimes you doing something, you feel a little pain inside here. Do you guys feel that? Yep. A little, it's like empty here. Do you ever feel this? You guys know what it is? Guys feel this? Okay? So you know what is this? It's an alarm calling you. Hey, listen, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. And then goes away. Because it cannot push you. It cannot command you because of your free will. But they can remind you, hey, you're sleeping on this path. Hey, you're not doing anything for your own good. That's the feeling that you feel. Remember when we used to be kids? We go home from school, change clothes, and go to the street play? That was in my time, when I was a kid, 25 years ago. So, what? What's going on? For Anna was about 70 years ago. Remember, Anna, about 60 years ago, when you used to be a little girl, and you used to come home from school, and you change your clothes, you want to go out with the girls. Remember? But you were out with the girls, and you felt a little thing here in your heart. Oh, my God, what is it? Oh, my God, I need to do my homework for tomorrow. The guilt. Right? That's what it is. That's what it is. But you know that you had the homework to do. But when you get home from school, you have your dinner, you go in, change your clothes, do your homework fast, and go to the street, the play is more fun, right? Because you don't have that little thing bothering you. And that's why we're all sick in this world. Because we are not doing our homework. Okay? We'd rather live in hell than live in happiness, in heaven. Right? Who here believe in heaven? Heaven. My God, 4 people only? You better raise your hands, people, because heaven does exist, okay? Heaven does exist. It is here, okay? It's with you all the time. And when you disincarnate, you're going to go to the heaven that you built.
Oh, sure. I better start believing it.
Huh? That's how it is. Huh? What she said?
I said, I better start believing because I need to make one up for myself.
Yeah, you need to start working in your heaven. It's within. Remember when Jesus Christ said? Jesus Christ was walking and work on the streets of Jerusalem on the Easter. And the guy said, what are you doing here? One of the priests, Jewish priests, said, what are you doing here? And he looked at the priest and said, listen, I'm here to bring the kingdom of heaven to men. And what he meant to that? That's exactly what he meant. Say, listen, you can't build your own heaven. It's because it's within you. Who thinks here that Jesus Christ suffered when he was here? Huh? But you think he suffered? Exactly, but the virtue was here. There was no suffering like we do here. Of course, suffering of the physical, right? I'm talking about of the emotion. There was no suffering in the emotion because he understood that he was dealing with a whole bunch of kids. Do you suffer when you're a small kid, throw a glass on the floor or break something in your house or hurt you? No, you don't. You understand that kid. You understand that kid is just a young kid. It's growing. So there is no suffering. Right? There is no need for forgiveness because there was no harm done. Right? So that's what it is. So the prohibition of the invoke of the dead. The Spiritism has come to show us that the aim of the relations of men within the world beyond the grave is exclusively moral, consolatory, and religious. As a Spiritist, neither sacrifice young children nor pour out drink offerings in honor of hidden gods, as they neither interrogate the stars, nor the dead, nor the angels, to learn the things of futurity, which God. So what he wants to say here is, in the Spiritism, there was no, how can I say, ceremonies, there was no dress code, there was no, nothing. There was no rituals whatsoever that is going to cut your path to heaven. Absolutely none of this, okay? Nothing. You don't need to do absolutely nothing on exterior, okay? There is nothing related to that. It's all in here. It's all in here. Now, the Spirituals come to show us the aim of the relation of men with the world beyond the grave. The prohibition of to evoke the dead. So, the Spiritists today are blamed to talk to the spirits because it is, on one of the books of the Old Testament, Moses prohibited the communication with the dead. But people took this out of the words of the people that do not believe in a communication of the dead. And they didn't study, they didn't read it, they didn't see the historical value or why this happened. Moses prohibited because everybody back then, because the Egyptians, okay, the Egyptians had their way of consulting the dead, and anything they did it. So the Jewish people was living in Egypt for years and years to come. And they took their culture also. When Moses got there, right, he saw that the Jewish people was believing in multiple gods, just like the Egyptians. Before they do anything, even before they got married, they used to go and talk to a medium to see if I got married or not. So what he did, he prohibited. It was easy than explaining to millions of people what is the communication of the dead for? So it is on the Old Testament he prohibited. But that was the reason, okay? And then 1,700 years later, Jesus comes, and what he does, he invokes the dead. He invokes Moses, who prohibited the dead, and he invokes John the Baptist on a Mount Tabor. And he talks to them in that, and so on and so forth. So when you see people from other faiths talking about the Spiritism, that we talk to the spirits, is because of that. That's not right? No. So then you mention to them, how come Jesus Christ did that? Not in one time, but multiple times, okay? Invoke the dead. Because this, when we die, we just change our clothes, okay? We can continue to have this connection with it. And how are we going to get this information if we don't have the way to talk to them, right? So that's just a historical path, so you understand. Most of our cousins on the Protestant movement blame us to talk to the spirit. They say, why, if the person die, you got to leave it alone because they're going to sleep and wait for the judgment. There was no such a thing. Okay? That's their belief. We respect them, but they cannot judge us for what we do also because they don't understand. When we see the peacefulness of some death and the terrible convulsions that accompany others, we naturally infer that the sensation attend on dissolution are not the same in all cases. But who can enlighten us upon this point? Who will describe for us the philosophical phenomenon of the separation of the soul and body? Who will recount to us the impressions of the soulman moment? So that's why we study the spirit. That's the reason why we communicated with the spirit. That's the reason why we receive information from the other side for growth. So we learn, so we understand, and make it easy for us to live in this physical world, understanding the spiritual world. Most of us don't understand. Most of the people that die today, 10 people that die, 9 that die, so out of 10 people and a death, 9 of them do not know whatsoever what's going to happen to them on the next life. Okay? And they get there completely lost. We have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cases on the mediumship meetings. Okay, hundreds and hundreds of cases like that. What's happening to me, where I am, why nobody talks to me. I went back to my house, my wife is not talking to me. Why my kids doesn't recognize me? What is this man doing at my table? That's what they tell us. Why they don't want to talk to me anymore? I keep walking around. You know how long I've been walking and I don't know where I am? Look at my feet. I'm thirsty, I'm hungry. I'm cold. What's happening to me? And then you ask him, what year is this? This is 1950 something. And 70 years later, he's still walking around. It's a very serious issue. Okay? It's a very serious problem. You're only going to know about this problem when you are concerned about others. Okay? Who's going to take care of these people? Right? Like Yonara said here in the class before, this is our responsibility, not only with the living, but also with the disincarnated. It is our responsibility. Okay? We can help now on, because it will be very easy for us, okay, just to live 70, 80 years, die, and go to heaven. Oh, you know what? If it was like this, in the world there is like now, it would be better to die what? 25, 26, when the responsibility is coming, you don't have your father's money anymore, right? So I think it's time to go. So I'm going to die now, and I'm not going to go to heaven. It was going to be very easy if it was this way, right? But it's not this way. We believe in heaven in a different way. The other beliefs do. We believe in hell in a different way also. But the emotion of hell does exist. And the emotion of heaven also does exist. It is within us. It is within us also the choice to choose one and the other. Okay? We need to stop blaming others around us for our personal hell. Okay? We stop blaming people for suffering, why things doesn't happen to us. And then we need to start taking responsibility and become an adult and look at ourselves in the mirror and say, listen, what do I need to change? And make that change. Okay? This is what we have for you guys for tonight. Thank you very much, and have a good night.
Thank you, Luide, for the talk tonight, for the speech tonight. I would like to invite the magnetizing to please go to the magnetism chamber so we can give passes